Welcome back, one and all, to The Horror Returns. I am Philip, and with me is my loyal co-host, Brian. Lance is not here, but replacing him today is Steve Carlton from the Geekz. How's
What's
it going,
up,
Steve?
fellas? Hey, man, thank you for having me. I'm happy to pinch hit for Lance. That's not exactly what was supposed to happen, but here we are.
Well, yeah. Hey, we'll take it. How are things going with the Geekz?
Going good, going strong. We've been sans a little for a little while. He was on a very secretive Disney cruise. They were like, it was like the first people. It was like a new ship. So he was like testing shit. So hopefully we'll get some good details on that coming forward. But it's just been a lot of salt and pepper lately.
Secretive Disney cruise sounds nefarious.
I mean, you could think of it that way, right? He did send one picture, and then as soon as that happened, he was dead for like 4 days. There's no contact.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, somebody found out he sent a photo. Threw him overboard.
Brian, how you doing, man?
Doing okay. It's getting warmer here.
Getting warmer?
Yeah, which means it's also getting dangerous because stuff's melting a little bit. Then it's
slushy.
Yeah. Not gonna say I haven't busted my ass a couple times walking the dog.
What a pain in the ass. Like, I always think, I'd really like to live somewhere where there's snow, but then you have to live somewhere where there's snow.
Yeah.
Like, snow's
kind
fun
of the same way. Like, it snowed here once. Since I lived here 6 years, it snowed here once, and it was only on the ground for like an hour or two, and then it was all gone. And I was like, that was enough for me. I'm fine with that.
That was good. We get our fill. All right, Steve, you got a cool of the week for us this week?
It's been a busy week. Lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff.
Good.
There was, I know Brian talked a little bit about it, but Skeleton Crew is phenomenal. I had a lot of fun with that. And then pretty much I've been kind of living in like Taylor Sheridan universe for the last week. And blew right through Lioness, all caught up with Landman. Landman is something special right there.
Is that the one with Billy Bob?
Billy Bob. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is Paramount Plus just basically the Sheridan network?
You know what? And they're all the better for it. The only thing I got to do, though, is I'm still watching stuff by other means because Paramount Plus is too wicked with them commercials. Like, you put on an episode of Lioness, and it's like 8 commercial breaks, and they're each like 4 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
It turns a 45-minute episode into an hour and a half. But that's what happened. I watched Landman episode 1 on Paramount Plus, and it's at 56 minutes. I'm like, all right. An hour and a half later, it ended. I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's too much with the commercials going on.
Well, and then the shit that they're doing with Yellowstone, where they like, if you're not catching it on TV, you're not watching it.
Oh shit! They wait till it's like,
the
next episode or something before they.
I think they're waiting until the season's complete to put it out on Paramount for the new Yellowstone. I mean, I'm not 100% positive on that, but that seemed to be the route that they were taking, at least at the beginning of it, which seems insane.
I've fallen off of Yellowstone. I watched a little bit past where what's the big ganger cowboy with the black hair? What's his name? The main guy that's with Beth. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Rip.
Rip. When he threw a rattlesnake at Sawyer from Lost and it hit him in the face and killed him, that's about around the time where I was like, I need to find some other stuff to watch. Like, that was cool, but like a lot of shit has to go right for that to work,
Jumping the rattlesnake.
But yeah, Landman. Brian, you watch any of that yet?
I'm only Taylor Sheridan stuff I'm watching is Tulsa King.
Tulsa King's phenomenal too. Love Tulsa King.
Everything's on the list though.
Oh yeah, Allie Larder in Landman. Anyways,
I forgot about her.
This show will help you remember in a big bad way.
And see, now they Larder in a minute.
But I would have to go. I guess my cool of the week would have to definitely be Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, I think is what it's called. I'm not sure. It's a brand new video game, just dropped. If you have Game Pass, it is free for you. I mean, you pay $20 a month for Game Pass, but it's one of their AAA titles that you just get day one. I downloaded that, and you're basically playing a new Indiana Jones movie. It's a young Harrison Ford. They got the voice acting is on point. The graphics are great. The whole opening mission where you're learning the buttons is all the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You literally get to run away from the big ball. Like, it's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
The music is on point. You like get to knock people out, and then like as the cutscene comes in, you like drop a one-liner and leave. I'm like, ooh, it's tough. It's very, very cool. It's a lot of fun. There's guns in it, but that's not really a point. It's way more fun to like. Everything around you can pick up and beat people with. So it's just like, oh,
what about
that
the
bottle
whip?
broke. Pick up a shovel, bam. Oh, you can hit people with the whip too.
Okay, cool.
You can nail them with the whip, but it's like tricky. It's a lot easier just to pick up a shovel or a wrench and bash them over the head.
I got you.
So it's a lot of fun. My cool of the week definitely has to be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm playing it on Xbox, but it's available everywhere. So
I'm gonna check that one out. That may be my next video game.
It's good.
I'll go next since Brian's are always the best anyway. But speaking of video games, that's gonna be the next one I'm gonna play. But I went to my parents' house over Thanksgiving and found my old Nintendo Entertainment System, the original one. And so I brought that back and cleaned it up and got it working. So I'm gonna get
how's the colors? Does it have the sun stain, or is it like nice and gray?
Yeah.
My old one got all yellowed.
Yeah, on the outside of it, it's less than desirable, but it's not awful.
But it works.
It works.
That's what counts.
Well, I had to replace a couple parts, but now it works. So I'm excited about that. I think that's better than like having the 20,000 games in one thing. Putting in the actual cartridges and letting it go. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, you get the joy of blowing in them, putting it in just right, and smashing them down.
You got to go through the pain in the ass.
The thing is, though, those Nintendo games, those original ones, hard as shit.
Yeah,
there's no difficulty settings. Some shit's hard, man. Unforgiving.
That, and I watched the Christmas Creep Show special. I think it came out maybe a couple of years ago, but I'd never seen it.
It's the werewolf one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the werewolf one. We put that on, and I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's it's Creep Show. What are you gonna do? And it was fun. Watched it with the family. And that's what I got for Cool of the Week this week. What do you got, Brian?
Really quick, was it last week that you guys were talking about whether or not Gremlins was a Christmas movie or not? Was it you guys that were talking about that?
Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's 100% a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I'm like, the opening song like is Christmas. So Christmas. It was you because you were like, "Shut up, Joe Dante." So it definitely was you. Like, yeah, Joe Dante needs to chill. That's a Christmas movie, in and out, because we've already watched it. As soon as December hit, Gremlins was on.
There it is. Brian, what you got?
Let's see. I got 2 shows this week. I checked out the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos, the new DC animated. Is it completely directed by James Gunn?
At least the first 2 episodes are.
Yeah.
I don't know about it moving forward.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was a little iffy on the animation at first. It took me a minute to get used to it. But everything you loved about James Gunn with his ensemble cast of weird characters, it works. And it got real adult there.
Yeah, it's not for the kids. There's a lot of fucking in this show.
Well, my daughter's 14, so she's kind of towing that line of some things I let go by. But when the sex scene happened, she looked at me and was like, "What are we watching?" I was like, oh.
I didn't know what we were getting into either, man. Holy shit. And then the whole Bride of Frankenstein, her whole story, that's a lot sexier than it was ever been told before.
Yeah. So
Sexy Bride of Frankenstein. I'll take
2 episodes are on Max now. I think every Thursday they're dropping an episode, so recommend that. And my second show, I finally started Ted Lasso.
Oh, I still haven't watched that one.
Enjoying it. I think I binged the first season in like 2 days.
Wow.
I just love Jason Sudeikis as this positive Southern accent having football coach that gets flown into England to coach soccer, which he has no idea about the game, but makes it work. And of course, you got the little cast of characters that make up the team, and it's great.
There's nothing bad wrong with putting on a little light watching. I watched the first season of Ted Lasso, didn't go back after that, but that was because it was a break. I watched it when it first came out. I enjoyed it. I just haven't felt the urge to go back. But when you're in a sea of darkness, like the shit we usually watch,
Yeah.
it's not bad to throw on something nice every now and then.
I'm a little lighthearted.
Yeah, and as per my agreement with Lance, I'm continuing my 25 Days of Christmas. Didn't watch anything new that I could speak of. Everything was just stuff I've seen a million times before, but I am keeping up with that. So, but no new movies.
Are they all horror Christmas or just random Christmas?
I snuck a couple in there. The original Black Christmas. Forgot something else I snuck in there. Gonna watch Gremlins, of course.
Die Hard.
Christmas horror has almost become, over the last few years, like its own subgenre. There's so many Christmas horror movies.
And some of them aren't bad. Like,
True.
I really liked that, what was it, Violent Night?
Violent Night, David Harbour? That
was a great movie.
Well, in a couple weeks, we're going to watch some really bad Christmas horror movies as we get deep into the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise.
Oh, here we go. Well, can't be any cheesier than any normal Christmas movie.
Cool movie posters, though. Especially 4 with all those stuffed animals.
Was that the toy maker?
Mm-hmm. The poster had nothing to do with the movie, but it was that's fucking cool.
The movie has nothing to do with the movie.
Oh, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think they're remaking that.
Yeah, with the
Terrifier guys. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and the guy that's directing it did the Wrong Turn remake.
Okay, that wasn't bad.
It's actually decent.
When did that come out?
A couple of years ago.
Oh my god. In my head, you said Wrong Turn, and I was like picturing fucking Paul Walker and Steve Zahn and Lily Sobieski. That's Joyride. That's a whole different movie. You talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The Truckers.
Yes.
But that's my cool of the week, Ted Lasso.
All right, I burned through that section. What do we got in horror headlines, Brian?
Let's see. We got an official title for one of the, I believe, 2 or 3 Evil Dead spin-off movies coming out. And it is officially titled Evil Dead Burn.
Okay. What does
Evil
that mean,
Dead
Evil Dead spin-off?
Random word.
They are continuing because I guess the first of these was, of course, Evil Dead Rise.
Okay.
And Sam Raimi wrote basically a Bible for all these directors to follow off of the main story, so we won't get any Rian Johnson Star Wars shit happening to do my own thing. And the first one coming out is this Evil Dead Burn, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce the director's name, but he did that Spider movie we reviewed a couple months ago.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So,
that wasn't bad.
Well, was that the foreign one, or like French or whatever?
Yeah.
Sting.
No, it was Infested.
I watched the trailer for that with you guys. I wanted to see that. The trailer was cool.
Yeah,
it's good. Not bad. They're like in an apartment building or something, and there's crazy mutant spiders everywhere. It's a little cheesy, but it's fun.
Becomes the raid.
Yeah,
you got to get through these levels.
Yeah, there you go.
That's cool. I love me some raid.
Let's see here. What else we got? Final Destination Bloodlines is coming to theaters, not Max anymore, May 2025. So,
all right. I can dig a new Final Destination movie.
Seems like they got some high hopes for it. You know, it was supposed to go direct to streaming, but now it's coming out in theaters. So
that's a good sign.
Horrible title, though.
Final Destination is actually not like, it's pretty solid as far as franchises go. Like the first one's probably still the best, like story wise and acting wise, but those kills got wild.
Yeah.
Shit got crazy.
Oh, that's
Still,
the fun part.
like I forget which one it was, but the gymnastics death is still the top one for me. I mean, I still get nervous around wood, logging
Yeah,
trucks.
those logging trucks. That was classic.
And I live in the mountains, so I'm around those guys a lot. But like the gymnastics one, where like all the dust flew up in the air and she was flipping and missed, and just her whole body just, that was the worst.
Trying to see if there's anything. That show I talked about on Shudder, Horror's Greatest, is getting a second season.
Okay.
Which Lance kind of talked about. He talked about how he watched like half an episode and then turned it on to another show. So I don't.
You only
I don't
got
know
so
what
much time, Brian. Only so much
I
time.
don't know what that says about the show.
Well, I don't know. You can't ever really gauge anything off of Lance's stuff.
I'm not even sure if he because he said he turned it off to watch the Creep tapes, and I'm not even sure if he liked that or not.
I was liking the
sounded
Creep
a little
tapes.
bored.
How many episodes are out of the Creep tapes?
I think 6 now.
Oh, okay. I watched like the first 3. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Jennifer Love Hewitt is close to returning for the I Know What You Did Last Summer Legacy sequel, which I don't know how good that is for the movie since they've already started filming.
She hasn't decided. So clearly the script doesn't mean anything, because unless they're just going to bring her back for a cameo,
They just need her right so they can AI generate her in.
You can throw her in as a cameo because I always thought she was miscast.
Yeah.
They should have swapped her role with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Well, the whole thing is
Yeah.
that whole franchise should have just stopped after the first one and let it be. Because that first one was fine. It's fine. And there's only like 3 people that die in the whole fucking movie anyways. Like it garnered a sequel for some reason. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Well, they were trying to make it the new Scream and it just wasn't.
No, because they convoluted with the story. Like, wait, so this fisherman from fucking Maine was like, he had his whole family like had their burial plot in fucking the Bermuda. Like, what the fuck? And there's a ghost.
Yeah, I can't even remember the whole storyline of that, but I know it wasn't good.
Let's see. Ariana Rivas is the latest to join the Black Phone 2 cast.
I like
Black
that first
Phone.
one.
Lance really didn't.
Yeah,
Like,
which
he
is
said,
weird,
like,
'cause
I
it's a
don't know
solid
what that
movie.
guy. So it's gonna be one of those nights where we just make fun of Lance because he's not here. But
Well, you have to.
yeah, like I don't understand sometimes because like he'll confuse the shit out of me when I'm listening to your shit. He'll be like talking all this good shit, and then he'll be like, "What do you rate it?" And he's like, a 3. I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
You just talked about all this good shit, and then you just ended it with like, it's a 2. I was bored." What?
Or here's how awful it was. It was an 8.
I love it though. It keeps you on your toes.
Not seeing any big news. There's a lot of small casting for the upcoming Scream movie. Looks like they're going with a lot of unknown people. Which I heard Patrick Dempsey is part of the main story, which I heard they haven't even locked him down yet.
Well, he's probably holding out to see what they're going to do. It seems like a fucking mess.
It's a hot mess. They had to stop a whole movie, do a whole nother movie that they weren't planning on. New directors, new writers, new everything, new people. Like,
yeah, that doesn't usually work out well.
It's Scream though, so gotta go see it.
Yeah, I don't see any new news, so guess that's it.
All right, let's head on down to the trailer park, where we bring you the big, the small, and sometimes the very, very weird. Brian, what do we got this week?
We got Scott Derrickson's survival action horror movie, The Gorge. This stars
The George.
Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Far Eyes, Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, she was in there for a hot second.
Oh, I didn't even see her.
And
that's it. Monsters.
yeah. Which that threw me off. I thought this was just some kind of assassins. Kind of reminded me of you guys ever see that what's Magneto's name? The newer Magneto.
Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender.
Yeah, that movie he did, The Killer, where he's just like camped out somebody's.
Oh, I did not watch that. I heard it was boring, so I did.
It
It was kind of boring, yeah.
Just kind of gave me the vibe of these two killers camped out for some reason on opposite sides, and then as the trailer goes, there seems to be some creature in the gorge that climbs up the tower.
Yeah, the dude that is putting Miles Teller, like telling him where everything is, what everything, how it's all going to be, is like, oh yeah, this is the gateway to hell, and you got to stop what's coming through it. He throws like this weird energy grenade down there, and some monster roars. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah,
sweet. Like I can get down with this. But then the trailer proceeds to explain like the rest of the movie to you, like how everything happens.
Yeah, it sort of gets into this weird
I'm like,
love
dang.
story thing for a second.
Yeah. And then like
What are
he's
we doing?
ziplining, and then it breaks. I'm like, okay, wait. That all has
So
to be
they're
third act
definitely
shit.
going into the gorge because it's right there in the trailer.
Also, I did notice at the very end had that rated PG-13 thing at the bottom, but
Yeah.
I mean, just so maybe there's no profanity, there's not crazy. There's only 3 fucking people in the movie, so it can't be that many, that bloody.
Yeah.
So I'd still be alright with it. I've seen some PG-13 horror movies that were better than some of the more rated R things out there.
That's
so.
true.
How much of the movie is Sigourney Weaver really going to be in it?
The board meeting where she sends Miles Teller
Yes.
to his assignment. That's it. Maybe on the radio after that. She's a good voice actress.
This seems like a mostly Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller movie.
Yeah, because when she popped up, I immediately thought of Chappie, The Cabin in the Woods, the newer Ghostbusters sequels.
The Jurassic World. She's just the voice over the intercoms. And then Anya Taylor-Joy, Russian again. Like, this is a thing for you. You got that Russian accent down, and you do look Russian, so it works.
She might be Russian. I don't know.
Oh, we got time. Let's find out. She
Looks
is
good though.
born in Miami,
Not Russian.
Well, but that doesn't mean she's not Russian.
Closer to Cuba.
raised in Buenos Aires in London.
Her name is Anya. She has to have some kind of Russian in there.
That's true.
Early life.
That
Blah, blah, blah,
Eastern
blah. Her
European.
father is Argentinian. Her mother is
I knew that. She speaks like fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
Her dad's what?
Her mom is Zambia, Central East Africa.
What?
She ain't Russian, dog. They just like the name Anya.
All right. She's African and Argentinian, and she is the weirdest white person you'll ever see with blonde hair.
Her eyes are far apart, but she is gorgeous.
I think she might be a part alien.
It's possible.
Yeah.
She's been. I haven't seen Furiosa, but I've liked almost everything she's been in. I even liked her in New Mutants. That's not a good movie, but she was good.
You should really watch Furiosa if you have like 3.5 hours to spare.
That's why I haven't. I'm like,
Yeah,
like everyone's like, Mad Max Fury was the best. Like, it was really good, but like,
it's good.
It's really good.
I'll tell you, it's good, but that runtime really just takes it out because Fury Road was just so fast paced to the point. It just kept moving, and there's just a lot of let's explain this part of her life and then jump to another part of her life and explain that. Then we have an action scene.
Yeah,
but
I'll get to it eventually.
I think I'm pretty sure I saw a clip of her speaking Spanish one time, and she is super fluent. Had no idea.
It makes sense if she spent a lot of her life in Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
All right.
That's neat.
The Gorge coming to Apple TV Plus February 14th.
Valentine's Day movie. Ooh.
No, that's why they put the love story aspect in there.
Well, she described it. She did a little interview and described it as how like 2 snipers fall in love through their sniper scopes.
Are they
like,
snipers?
Yes.
Will
I
Sean be
guess.
watching this on his birthday?
100%. He's the one that showed me the trailer.
Oh, okay.
He was ready for that.
Oh, this is coming out on my day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's Sean, if it's got something to do with Sean.
All right, now to the big trailer that dropped last night, like at midnight. 28 years later. This is directed by Danny Boyle, of course. Screenplay by Alex Garland. This stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ray Fiennes, and Cillian Murphy, which a lot of people are saying that skinny zombie at the end is zombie
It's him.
Cillian Murphy.
It looks like him. It does look like him when you freeze frame it, and they got the pictures up there with Cillian Murphy next to that zombie side by side, and I'm like, if it ain't him, it's a nice Easter egg.
Yeah.
This is the first of a planned trilogy, which they've already, I think, begun filming the trilogy. I'm reading here, the part 2 was filmed back to back with this one and is already titled 28 Years Later Part 2, The Bone Temple, and is directed by Nia DaCosta, which she directed the Candyman, the newest one.
That was good.
Okay.
So, what you guys think?
I liked it. I think it's like a glimpse into like what the people are going to be like after the world's been devastated like that. You see all these different tribes kind of popping up here and there, and he looks like Aaron Taylor Johnson has to get that boy from some place to some other place. This was a road trip movie.
Yeah, there you go.
With zombies and infected and fucking assholes out there. So
I agree with you there. I don't know if I like the artistic approach to this particular trailer. That lady doing the voice thing over and over got old for me.
yeah, that was annoying.
Now the movie looks like it's probably going to be pretty good. I just didn't super enjoy this trailer.
I liked both of the other ones, so my hopes are high for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into this one. I like the poster, basically talking about, 28 days it began, then it spread, and now it evolved. Because, we all know, of course, viruses change and evolve. So I'm interested to see what the people aspect of the movie involves. And we got glimpses of what some of the creatures could be. There was one crawling on the ground that looked rather disgusting that I kind of want to see in full view what that one looks like.
Oh yeah.
And
Cillian Murphy popping out of the bushes was scary as shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in, because they said the second one they were just hoping that they would just die from starvation. He looks starved but very much alive. If that's
unless it was like a trap. He's like on like a little pegboard or something. And it was like somebody tripped a wire. It's like a scarecrow. He's like, oh no.
But I'm into this one.
Yep, I agree.
I kind of feel like the voiceover, the counting the numbers, has something to do with the movie that we'll find out in the movie, because it kind of sounded culty.
Yeah, it did, and I can get that. It just did this. It didn't grab me and go, I get excited about this movie. I was like, shut up.
This one hits theaters June 20th next year.
2025 is going to be a busy year.
Yeah. All right. Movies back in swing. On to listener feedback. This week, we shine the podcast spotlight on collective nightmares. We are sociologists interested in bringing a sociological perspective to the writing, production, and analysis of horror films, broadly defined. All right. Collective Nightmares. Horror podcast for smart folks. Matt Wood posted a photo of a huge VHS Christmas collection. Is this your Christmas collection, Lance? Most of his Christmas collection's on the Hallmark Channel, isn't it?
I would like to say that
yearly
might
membership
be more my Christmas collection.
Yeah, there you go.
Than Lance's. I have several hundred.
That's pretty awesome. You got a whole little blockbuster down there.
Oh yeah. It's grown. I had to get rid of about 300, and now I'm back up to even more than I had before. So
there it is. In regards to Krampus, Karen Shelton says, I grew up listening to stories about the Krampus. My mother is from Austria. Joseph Rivers says, I watched it on Krampusnacht. I guess that's like Christmas Eve or something. In regards to Terrifier 3, Abram Sullivan says it is the most disgusting Christmas horror movie I've ever seen. Ozzy Gum says, yes, that's what makes it a good horror movie.
And I have to shout out, I talked about the guy that got all pissed off about the killing of children in Terrifier 3 and
Oh, yeah.
tried to go on a rant and then was attacked by our Facebook followers. He started another thread in a different post with the same thing again. I got to applaud your commitment, but you are again getting attacked.
It's the wrong forum, man. You got to read the room, brother.
Yeah.
You're talking to a crowd of people that enjoyed that shit.
Yeah.
That's what makes Terrifier kind of awesome.
It's crazy. It's offensive and shit that you shouldn't see, but that's the point.
It's supposed to piss you off. That's
the part is he's getting so upset about they didn't even show it on camera.
I know. Let's see. Gremlins. Galleon Rabbit says, remember, it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Plaza and Mrs. Deagle flies out a window.
100%.
That shit makes me laugh every time. Let's see. In regards to Nosferatu, Barry Black says, this looks incredible.
You're hearing great things about it.
It looks, just from the previews, like Dracula.
Well,
to me.
It is.
Dracula's based on it. So it's basically Bram Stoker's Dracula. The whole story is based on the Nosferatu stuff. So it's essentially the same story. It's not Nina, it's not Winona Ryder and fucking Keanu Reeves. It's Nicholas Hoult and Johnny Depp's daughter.
Oh, and since we're taking shots at Lance, I will say this will be the most confusing review. Because the whole style of this movie is right up Lance's alley, but for some reason he's not fond of the director.
Robert Eggers? Why not? Yeah. I mean,
he's done some good stuff, right? What's he got?
With Lance, you got one chance to fuck up. And according to Lance, he fucked up with the Northman.
Oh, I thought that one was fun.
I mean, the Northman for me was too hyped. When I saw it, I was expecting oh my god, and it was good, but it was part of it felt like a drug-induced fever dream, and I'm just like, what am I watching here? It's like this big.
It was one of those movies where it had me looking stuff up constantly on the rewatch. References will be made or things will come up, and I'm like, oh, is this really happening, or did this really happen in Norse mythology or whatever? And he pulled a lot of stuff for the movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
I liked the Vivitch very much.
Yeah.
So
yes, that was a great one. Although his stuff does get out there, so we'll see. I think that might play well in this movie.
Yeah, I'm just calling it. There's going to be a lot of this was good, 3 out of 10.
They played that trailer twice in my theater today. So, I have a bone to pick about theaters and their bullshit before the movie.
Dude,
they're playing commercials between the trailers now. I'm like, yo, how are you going to go from trailer to M&M's commercial, another trailer? What the fuck are we doing?
Coca-Cola, I fucking get it. Do you really need to advertise at this point?
All commercials should be played pre-lights going out.
Yes.
I don't want to be sitting here looking at a golden fucking tea. What is that? That sweet tea? This guy riding through the vineyards and shit. That's a 3-minute commercial. I'm like, the fucking light's been off. Movie's supposed to start 20 minutes ago.
I can't remember the last fucking movie I went to that even started on time.
No. It was hilarious, too. When the lights finally went out, there was one guy down in the first row. He was like, just start the fucking movie already.
Yeah.
Whole theater thought it was funny.
It's in this one, I like every fucking movie experience I've been to in the past year at least. This one I went to, the lights didn't even. The movie was supposed to start at like 6 or whatever, and the lights didn't even go out until like 6:15. I was like, "What are we doing?
Yeah,
I got places to
drive me
be."
crazy.
One of them we got there, and it started like 20 minutes early. Like I walked in, thought I was early for the movie, and it was just starting, and there was like the theater was still empty. I was like, man, people are gonna be pissed about this.
Times at your theater mean like as much as like the number scores do here. Like it's just like, well, whatever we feel like.
Yeah, and at different theaters, it's crazy. Anyway, in regards to Smile 2, Tando Bam says, can I ask, so all those people who are at the concert watching skydiving, will they also be affected by this demon? Oh, watching sky dying. I got you.
Okay. I was
Well,
like, it's that part in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
I would assume so, right? That's how it works. If you see,
Yeah,
the
I think
smile.
that was kind of the point of the whole thing.
But
think
now
they could-
it's spread. Now it's wide.
Yeah, now it's everywhere.
I think they can go the route it spread, or one specific person in the crowd got it.
Yeah. I'm okay that they left it sort of open to interpretation.
Yeah.
But my interpretation is that he was trying to infect as many people as possible. Although it
Part
seems
3.
like that would have been easier to do a long time ago, but whatever.
The demon is just tired.
Yeah.
Part 3 is like, I don't want to do this no more. Too many people. I
Yeah.
overstretched. Spread myself too thin. I'm exhausted.
Todd Copeland says, started to watch it last night. So far, so good. Yeah, it's a great movie. Like, that's my shining star for the year so far. Maybe. I don't know. I have to go look. I
Well,
guess
we still haven't got to werewolves yet.
Yeah. Well, I think I haven't even started looking my top 10. Let's see. In regards to the Gorge, Johnny Ray says Sigourney Weaver once again playing a high-ranking official who watches over an opening to the underworld. LOL. And I'm in.
Yep. Agreed.
Let's see. Lance sent me something else too. Let me check it real quick, y'all. Because we got a little bit more feedback. Oh, David Barta finally got his t-shirts. So that's awesome.
Nice.
And Tim Davis, responding to Street Trash, the 2024 version, says, I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Lance Langford on Street Trash 2024.
I still want to see it. I like the first one. The first one was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
This one's kind of ridiculous too.
yeah, but is it playing fucking hot potato with a dick ridiculous, or like not quite there?
Not playing a hot potato with a dick, but there is a dick.
There's a scene. Yeah, they definitely pay homage to it.
Fantastic. That first one was a movie you'll never forget.
All right. That's it for listener feedback. Of course, our new logos and intro come from this man right here, Steve Carlton from the Geekz.
Oh, yes. All from my blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. Original skull artwork from Natsulani. And if you'd like to help us out, please consider becoming a Patreon patron. We'll let you pick the movies for a future show at any amount, and for $5 or more a month, also pick a commentary for a future bonus show. So if you'd like to hear our thoughts on some random bullshit, let us know. We'll make it happen.
Could be anything. We've had picks ranging from musicals, which was the worst episode, to rom-coms.
Ooh, somebody Patreon picks you to watch Wicked. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes of
Oh
scene.
no, don't give anybody any ideas.
Sorry, I just put it out in the universe. I'm sorry, Brian. I thought out loud. I had a thought out.
I almost watched it.
It's out there by other means.
I asked my daughter, "Are you interested? Because I'll watch it if you want to watch it." And she looked at me like she really wanted. This is going to be the first time she cussed in front of me.
My wife and my daughter went and saw it. My daughter, who's into theater, she loved it. My wife was like, "Oh, I liked it, but you wouldn't like it." And
Well,
so it's by other means, it's out there, not in great quality, but it's good quality. And so like I
Yeah.
put it on, and
Well, I
6 minutes in, 6 solid minutes of singing. I'm like, I'm about done with this.
That's why I don't want to watch it. When Lance says 2 minutes into the movie and they're singing already, and I was like, well, it's a musical, and he's looking at me like, no, they're singing.
Like, this is
And it's part one. That means there's
musical.
a whole nother movie coming now.
And Ariana Grande is one of the main characters, so.
Yeah, musicals
Not made for me.
Not my thing. Never have been. There's a select few, like Little Shop of Horrors, or
yeah,
I like Crybaby,
Tenacious D,
The
Pick of Destiny.
I could watch that, but that's about it. I don't like Anna and the Apocalypse. I don't like Little Shop of. I don't like musicals at all.
I didn't hate Anna and the Apocalypse.
Zero.
Fair enough.
I don't like it. Musicals drive me fucking crazy.
All right. On to our featured attractions. We howl at the moon for Werewolf Week with this brand new Werewolves and 2014's Late Phases, or Night of the Wolf, or Night of the Lone Wolf. It's got like 3 different names.
It's like
So-
Late Phases :
Yeah.
Night of the Lone Wolf. But it's not a lone wolf. There's a whole bunch of them motherfuckers. So it's really confusing.
It is. Yeah. And which didn't give me warm and fuzzy vibes when I first was looking for this movie. I'm like, I'm
Cool
not even sure
poster,
if I have the right fucking one.
Very cool poster.
Very cool poster, actually. All right, but let's start with Late Phases from 2014. When deadly beasts attack from the forest, it is up to a grizzled veteran to uncover what the residents of a secluded retirement community are hiding. Director is Adrian Garcia Bogliano, also known for Here Comes the Devil and Cold Sweat. Writer is Eric Stoltz, also known for The Stylist.
Oh, I was like, wait.
Eric Stoltz.
I was like, wait, the Eric Stoltz?
I know, is it? No.
No, it can't be.
The guy that was Marty McFly.
That's
that
what I
got
was
kicked
like,
out
wait a
for Back
minute,
to
I
the
know that
Future.
name.
The guy that that was playing P. Diddy and Butterfly Effect. Which one? Who are we talking about here?
A transformation scene was intended to be the transformation scene was intended to be done in one shot with a technologically new camera rig that would be programmed to shoot from multiple angles as if it were a single shot. However, an unforeseen problem was that since no one had ever used it before, it took 2 full days to program the rig properly.
I mean, it was technologically new. So.
Yeah.
Seems like a bad design.
Yeah. Although, you turn 1 day into 3 days, that's not awful in the movie business, I imagine. As Ambrose states in the film, it is in fact legal for the visually impaired to own firearms in the United States. Disabled Americans have the same protected rights as any other American gun owners.
I get it. Seems dangerous, but I get it.
That's my
Just
attitude.
Like it's like playing the lottery with these blind folks. I don't know.
I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Are you allowed to have one? Sure. Is it a good idea? Maybe not.
I mean, Ambrose is someone I trusted with a gun until the part of the movie where he almost shot his son.
Yeah. I was kind of waiting for that to happen.
I would trust him with the gun if it was like his house he'd been living in for a minute. But this is a new joint. He don't know where nothing is. It's going to take him a bit to get his bearings. He's just shooting wildly.
Yeah, I think there's a scene where he's like kind of shuffling along and he runs into the mattress and he's like, oh, this must be the bedroom.
Yes. He's like in his own house. He's constantly like putting his hands out trying to find where shit is. I don't trust him with a gun yet. Give him a few months in this house. Maybe I'll come around.
Stubborn old motherfucker. Well, what do you think, Steve?
Late Phases. This is the second time I've seen this. We reviewed this for the Geekz 31 Days a few years back now. Nick D'Amici. He's an interesting guy. I've seen most of his movies, and they all have the same kind of thing in common, like the Stake Land movies, Mulberry Street. They're all pretty good with a low budget. And he's always. I actually think that Nick D'Amici is a really good actor. I'm surprised he's not in more.
Yeah, me too.
Here, the werewolf genre is near and dear to my heart. It's tragic that there's only like a couple of good werewolf movies and a whole bunch of garbage to sift through to get to those few good ones.
Yeah.
And for me, a big part of it falls down to the werewolf design. And here, I did not like these werewolf designs with their tiny little weird needle teeth and their big fucking gerbil faces. I don't know what animals they were going for, but wolves was not it. Like, it's so frustrating because most of the rest of this movie is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's just the werewolf design really for me that brings it down a notch. But other than that, and they're still really not that. I like these better than I liked all the werewolves in Underworld. Like those look like weird, like hairless rat things. I don't know what those are, but this at least
It's hard to get that werewolf design down
Except-
right.
like in the sequels to Underworld when they had that werewolf god, like the original one. Now that one looked awesome. The white one with the big long snout. Like I need that classic werewolf look.
Yeah.
For it to really hit home for me. And this, they do some good things, some not so good things. But
They're always so slimy. I don't understand it.
yeah. And this one in particular, this one they kind of pop through a dude. They kind of pop out from underneath you. So I get they kind of got all that viscera on them. But I like this one. I'm going to knock it slightly for the werewolf designs, but it's only slightly. I actually thought this was a pretty good movie. I thought Ethan Embry was good. Nick Demichi was good. They set up a nice little story. I like werewolves attacking old folks, and you got these senior citizen werewolf running around. It's pretty sweet. It's a cool little idea. So,
all right, Brian, what'd you think?
This is my second time watching it, and I think it's been probably almost a good 10 years since I've seen it originally, because I don't remember how dramatic and slow it got at times. But I thought that added to the character Nick Demichi was playing, and he's a great guy, Steve. We actually interviewed him a few years ago, which is probably not available anymore. But
It might
get that re-uploaded.
Yeah, super cool
yeah,
guy.
'cause he's awesome.
And I thought he played the hell out of this role. I liked the dynamic between him and Ethan Embry, because you didn't really have to go into their relationship to understand that there was issues there. So I'm glad we didn't have to go through all that. And
he's an asshole too, He's an asshole to those old ladies that come bring him food. He's like, he's super short and shitty to them. I like that.
well, I couldn't live in this community. I don't need the guy telling me it's 25 miles per hour every time I come in the gate.
Yeah.
For real. And then like the busybody's like, oh, he can't ride this bus. I need him on a different, like, you're allowed to do that? Like, make that bitch ride on another bus then.
I know. Goddamn, Rosa Parks.
Wild. And then the pastor, he was cool too. I liked him, smoking pastor.
Wasn't that
He's a character actor.
Killer?
Who's that?
In Manhunter. Wasn't that him?
Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the IMDb right now.
I know he was the villain in Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah, he played Jack the Ripper.
Huh. Look at that.
Son of a bitch, I can't find him.
Dude, I hadn't seen Last Action Hero since I was a kid.
Oh, Tom Noonan. That's who it was. He was in RoboCop 2. Oh, House of the Dead.
RoboCop 2. He was Kane.
Yeah, Monster Squad. There you go.
Yeah, he was Frankenstein in Monster Squad.
Damn, he was in Wolfen. So he was in another werewolf movie.
You guys awesome. They had a pretty good cast here for having such an obviously low budget.
Yeah.
Eight-Legged Freaks. That was the one. That's where I remember him from.
Can't remember his name, but he's a character actor. Larry Fessenden, I think I'll pronounce. He's in a bunch of stuff. He was in here. A lot of, if you're a fan of horror movies, you saw a lot of people you recognize in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I agree with you, Steve. I'm not a fan of the werewolf design, but I am a fan of the transformation.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
It was interesting. It was something different.
I like when it was like all slow and then popped right out of his face, like, oh
yeah.
shit.
Just tore the skin off. That stuff was cool.
It reminded me of the like the Trick or Treat transformation scenes where the chicks are just ripping their skin off.
But then it went into a horrible scene of him jumping onto a car, attacking someone through a windshield that looked super bad to me.
Yeah.
Well, and I always get a kick out of werewolves that like hit people and backhand them Like, why? Or like grab them and throw them, but like they don't scratch them somehow. I'm like,
Yeah.
like why is this werewolf punching this old man? Like, why can't he just like kill him? You know, I don't understand that.
Bite his fucking head off.
Little confused at the ending. Is Ethan Embry a werewolf hunter now? And why did he shoot the moon?
Well, I think that was
I don't think it quite got there.
The 21 gun salute at his father's funeral is what I think.
Well, he
that
made
was.
sure.
Except it was a 1 gun salute.
He made sure to point at
handgun.
the full moon and shoot
Yeah.
it.
And he was aiming awful hard considering those should be blanks.
I'll tell you, the sequel is that Ethan Embry is fucked because he's the only person here and there is nothing but a bunch of dead, naked old people.
Yeah, I think I'd want to get about as far away from that place as possible.
Get out of there. And what does he do? He picks up one of the only firearms and one that's responsible for shooting several of these dead old people. And he puts his hand on it and pulls the trigger. Come on, guys.
I need to see a movie about that story because they seem to rush by all that and go straight to his dad's funeral.
I was thinking about that. I was like,
that's what happens. Like as soon as they leave the cop's funeral, he's led away in handcuffs onto the prison bus.
I was like, what was your story?
But even if they go, because that's what I was thinking is like, what is the news story going to be when this comes out? Because the cops are going to show up and think that this old man just killed all these fucking old people. Why are they
he's
naked?
all dressed up in his fucking military. He lost his shit. He suited up and went on a killing spree.
PTSD.
He got invited to the
blind
swingers
man
party.
murdered everybody.
Let's be honest. When the cops showed up, when somebody died, they were like, "This happens a lot around here."
Yeah, that's true.
They weren't too bothered by it.
Yeah, I guess they were all kind of like, "Shut up, old people! You're gonna die anyways. What are you bitching about?" It's like that's kind of the attitude they had.
Holy shit! Something busted through my wall last night, and they're like, that happens."
That's crazy though. There's like crazy scenes though, like where the delivery drivers are coming up and they're like, "Holy shit!" And they open the door and the whole house is like busted up, and they walk in and Nick Dimici's laying there with his dog dead, blood everywhere. And they rightfully so are like, "Oh my god, what the fuck happened?" You know, it's pretty cool.
I wouldn't have walked into it. It's a crime scene, brother.
It's a pretty good movie. It's just the werewolves, their needle teeth. Why the small teeth? I like the little roar scream things it did. It sounded like a T-Rex from like Land Before Time, but
yeah. I enjoyed this one.
Since we're talking about, sorry, Phil. Since we're talking about werewolves, do you think chances are going to be high or low that you're disappointed with the Wolfman?
You know, they actually
expectations for
they played a trailer for that today, and it was not a trailer I've seen before, and it was much better. The trailer was much better this time around. There was like a scene where she was asking the guy, like, "Can you understand what I'm saying to you?" And it was like went to his perspective, and she was just, it sounded like Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What the fuck?" Like, so I'm hoping for some cool shit. But that weird troll man I seen him roaming around at fucking Universal Studios and the Wolfman display was not giving me high hopes.
Yeah, who was in charge of that to put that out as marketing?
I don't know.
But I didn't see that part.
but they're doing Wolfman, so they're not doing werewolf. They're doing smushed face like Werewolf by Night, like Benicio del Toro's Wolfman. And that Wolfman design wasn't terrible, Benicio del Toro's. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, more classic.
I think they're going more,
All right, Phil.
But it would be nice to get a really cool werewolf design. That's not exactly what we get with this one, but I also kind of understand that with the budget. Having said that, I didn't expect anything from this movie since it had like 3 different names and I wasn't even sure that I had the right one. I was like, oh, this is going to be a shit show. And also I know that there's a whole lot of really shitty werewolf movies out there.
Oh, yeah.
So like I started it up and kind of really wasn't paying full attention at the beginning of it. And it fucking caught me and pulled me in. Once he was blind and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I kind of was stuck on it from there. Like Nick Dimici pulled me in and made me watch this movie. And it was so much better than it had any business being.
Ethan Embry killed it.
Yeah.
I was like, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I like Ethan Embry a lot. He was kind of a whiny bitch in this movie.
That was his role.
Yeah, I know it
And
was
he
his
played
role.
it well.
But I was like, why are you so pissed? Look, this is obviously the way this guy is. If you haven't accepted that by this point, like, what are you trying to do here?
The man's fighting. You know what? The man's he's got his dad on one hand and he's got his wife on the other. And you
Yeah.
see, he comes back and is like, she's pregnant. We got to move across
Oh,
country to be with her. Like, he's dealing with a lot at home. We're just
Yeah.
not seeing that bit.
Right.
You know?
My mind has just been blown. The guy that played the werewolf is Lance Guest from The Last Starfighter.
Huh.
Holy crap. The driver,
Yeah.
man,
That's
he
wild.
looks so familiar. I just couldn't put my finger on him.
But yeah, man, that from that first werewolf scene where he's fighting the dog and stuff. I mean, you know, the action is not super awesome, but Nick D'Amici's performance was pretty amazing. Like, I think he totally killed it. He played the whole thing real deadpan and stubborn old Manny, and it made sense. Ethan Embry killed it. Like, the acting was just like way better than it should have been in this movie. It didn't make any sense. Werewolf design, I agree with you on that one. Not awesome. But I've almost stopped looking for good werewolf design in movies. Like, I don't know. I guess you don't really know what a werewolf is supposed to look like, and so they always make this big, like, slimy, ugly creature.
I
Like,
feel
make
like
it look cool.
I feel like the viewers know what a good werewolf is supposed to look like. And the people that make the movies take that idea and say, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something completely different.
We're subverting expectations.
On mute.
I'm on
Yeah.
mute, sorry. Me personally, I think that like Bad Moon with who was in that? Mariel Hemingway and somebody else. They like Bad Moon is like not a good movie, but the werewolf transformation is terrible, but the werewolf design is so good. Oh, it's one of the best.
Okay.
Dog Soldiers, one of the best.
Mhm.
That was a pretty good one. That was interesting.
But
But it's like
Van
it's
Helsing,
hard. It's
one-
hard to
one of
do
the
it and make it
best.
convincing, you know?
Van Helsing was fantastic.
Yeah.
Not a great movie. Best werewolf design. So
That's
good.
true. It wasn't a bad movie. I didn't hate Van
When was
Helsing.
the last time you watched it? When was the last time you watched it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
That movie is Cheese City, man.
Oh yeah, no, it totally is. But like, I remember watching it and being like, I don't know why this one gets so much hate. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but you know.
It's all like it's all the slow motion turnarounds from Kate Beckinsale, or like the fucking for no reason backflips and spins. It's like it's very theatrical.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
All right, scores on late phases. What do you think, Steve?
I'm gonna give Late Phases a 7.5.
All right.
I think it's pretty good, but
Yeah.
not a very high body count to say. So not a lot of kills you get to see on screen. Very cool werewolf transformation, but a bad werewolf design. So 7.5.
And not even like a traditional werewolf movie. It had like a whole different movie going on in the background.
I appreciate it though. It's you getting a main character who's a retired vet, who's a senior citizen. It's not very often you get a main character in a action-oriented horror movie like this.
Especially one that's blind.
True.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree with everything Steve said, but I'm going to go slightly higher with a 7.75. I thought the
Price is right
acting-
me again.
I got to. I thought the acting was outstanding. I love the transformation scenes. Didn't like the design, but I think for most part it was the acting and storytelling that just kind of drew me in.
Yeah. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid 8, man. Nick D'Amici was amazing in this movie. He was doing a really good Bronson, you know. But yeah, I think it was a good movie without the werewolves, and then you add that in, and it just makes it better, even if they didn't have the best design. But at that point, you're kind of just going with it anyway. So, fun.
I would put Late Phases as one of those you got to sift through all the bullshit to get to a good werewolf movie. You'll come across this one and be like, oh, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Especially after you sit through some terrible werewolf movies. Then this thing looks great.
Oh yeah. No, I was really expecting it to suck, and I was like, dude, this is good. All right, we'll see if we think the same thing about the next one. Werewolves 2024. 2 scientists try to stop a mutation that turns people into werewolves after being touched by a supermoon the year before. Director is Stephen C. Miller, also known for 2012's Silent Night. Writer is Matthew Kennedy, also known for Inheritance and Canary Black. The title Year 2 confused some people who thought this was a sequel, but the title refers to the year after the second year, an event that leads people to becoming werewolves. I guess they changed the title, so that little bit of information doesn't even make any sense. Steve, what do you think about this movie?
So this trailer was pointed out to me way back when it first dropped. From people that listen to my show know that I'm a huge werewolf fan, so I've been following this. Even though I thought the trailers seemed a little iffy, especially with the designs of the werewolves, I wasn't sure. I was excited to see this. I managed to get to the theater today to check it out. This movie sucks. This is not a good movie. It is filled with stupid people that say and do stupid fucking things. The movie is bad. It's a bad movie. It's poorly edited. It's poorly paced. The storytelling is not good. The acting is not good. It is a bad movie from beginning to end. Like, it's quite shocking how bad this is. It's really bad. Now, the werewolves, there's some cool shit with the werewolves themselves. I didn't think that their whole designs were terrible. Mainly when like 2 of them are together, it kind of does look like 2 guys in suits kind of just like smacking their forearms at each other.
Yeah.
But when they're like
sticks.
in full CGI running around and shit, it looks pretty good. Like the werewolves are pretty cool. I'm not gonna knock the werewolves on this too much. Their faces were a little weird. They had like this weird, like, kind of reminded me of those shoes from what's it called? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Those shoes that get put in the dip, you know, with the big. It kind of reminded me of them a little bit, but it was cool. Oh man, we'll get into spoilers. I have shit to talk about almost every aspect of this movie. Oh man, this is not a good movie.
No, you're not wrong. Brian? What'd you think?
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see this. I really wanted to. After everything Steve said, I really want to even more. So,
you have to watch it, dude.
So hopefully next week I'll maybe talk about it in cool or not cool of the week, whichever one it falls under.
Yeah. So yeah, I went and I'm glad I got a chance to see it today then, because I barely watched it. But okay, so I went into this with maybe a little more optimism. I didn't think it was going to be good, but you know, let's see how it goes, kind of a thing. And so I was just rolling with it. Like when they started it out, and like the movie starts out with, last year there was a supermoon. Here's all your exposition. All right, now there's gonna be werewolves.
Don't tell me.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even mind that they did that in like a really immediate fashion. And so I was expecting after that for them to get to the action very quickly. I was like, okay, cool. Get all that story shit out of the way and let me see some werewolves. And it still took them a while to get there. And yeah, aside from that, you're right. The acting was bad. I didn't hate the story. But the dialogue was awful. Like, no,
it's so much nothing. There's so many lines of pure nothing.
Yeah, there was even a moment in the middle of the movie where I was like, why did they even keep that scene in?
Oh my god, there's a lot, and characters just changed. They're like one minute they're like, ooh, the next minute they're like, I'm fucking badass. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. It's like it was like a 2-minute scene, and I was like, what? that didn't serve any purpose. All they did was talk to each other for a few seconds, and it didn't progress the story at all. Like it,
God,
like the little girl is super cute, but like really fucking annoying. Like, what are you doing? Like if you're gonna put yourself in this situation and actually act like there's werewolves outside, maybe shut the fuck up.
I mean, I'm saying there's rules laid out and they follow none of them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't follow any rules. Nothing really makes any sense. All of the logic is fucked. It is a bad movie, but I had a little bit of fun with it.
Oh, I'm glad.
So there's that.
There was somebody in our audience that was having fun, but I went and saw it with my friend Lino. If you have watched the Geekz, you know who Lino is. He's a mainstay on there, and boy, we barely got down the steps, and he was like, "That was fucking bullshit."
I like Frank Grillo. Boy, it's gonna be hard to come back from some shit like this, though. That was
Frank Grillo. Boy, put your shirt back on, would you?
All right. Let's do scores and spoilers. Steve, what do you think?
2.
And
that's
ouch.
That's only for the little bit of cool werewolf shit we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 because of the cool werewolf shit. Was one of them had like a fucking biker jacket on, still had like earrings in his ears.
Yeah,
and shit.
again, no rules. How come he's like that and there's all those other ones naked?
I know. Well, and that was my first thought. Well, we'll get to it in spoilers.
Oh god, this movie makes me mad.
There's
It could have been
a couple
cool.
of them that don't make sense.
I did it. I Monday morning quarterbacked it. I made a better movie in my head before I went and saw this, and then I'm just like, God damn it! Like, can I get into one of these rooms, please?
Yeah.
So I could just
Well,
look at these people and say, no, bad, don't do that.
this is one of those that's bad, but it kind of knew what it was, and so they just were throwing shit at the walls, I think.
I want to believe you. Oh, but I don't. Because
spoilers. Spoilers. Because that's where I was going with that comment. I was like, when Frank Grillo transforms into a werewolf, which I knew was going to happen.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, I was like, why is he the only werewolf that still has pants on?
Well, no, the neighbor still had his bulletproof vest and fucking his face paint for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Like, how do you still have face paint? Don't get me wrong. I like when you have like a bunch of creatures that look the same and you have little nods, be like, oh, I know that one's that, you know,
right?
Because the dude had his face painted in red, white, and blue because he's a fucking jerk off, and he had and not because he was red, white, and blue, he's a jerk off. He was just a jerk off. Like, you're fucking firing off live rounds in a close quarter neighborhood. Chill, my dude. Like,
yeah,
that's like joining
maybe
wall.
One of the things you'd like to have to get ready for this is, you know,
like,
ammo.
Yeah, you're wasting it. This shit is not like fucking. You just have a whole stockpile. Like, do you see Frank Grillo as a former military, also scientist, the world's leading cutting edge botanist or whatever the fuck they say he is?
So
his character didn't make sense.
Oh yeah, he's a
he's
scientist. Yes.
See,
it starts off with a montage of him putting out traps with his fucking veiny ass arms and shit, you know, and he puts all these nails into a board and then like he flips it around and like it's a solid 45 seconds of him looking at the nails, touching them and shit. Like,
for an hour and a half movie, this seemed long.
What are we doing? What are we doing? And then but it starts off and it's like, this crazy ass thing happened a year ago, and now we're preparing for it to happen again. And like, it says that like millions of people died, right? Millions. So if millions of people died, and it happened all across the world, right? Because that's what the neighbor says. He's like, you see what's going on in Japan and Australia right now? It's fucked.
Yeah.
It's coming this way. And that was a cool thought. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, they can see that shit's already fucked up over there. And so when it gets over here, it's gonna be bad. Cool idea. But if that happened, like, wouldn't you like move away? Like, wouldn't you like not have neighbors like right next to you? Or if you did, like, go somewhere else for the day, you know? Or like, me personally, you know what I would do?
They not have shelters set up or something?
Well, they did. Well, see, that's the other thing. They remember they're taking everybody underground in the city. Never went back to that. Because there was a guy going down there that had like, he was all scarred up and shit. I was like, oh, he's gonna change, and like shit's gonna go down there. Never even went back to there. They just left that.
Well, and so is everybody affected by this thing?
Everybody that their skin got touched by moonlight, which is just weird because the moon doesn't give off light; it's reflecting the sunlight. So it's just that whole notion is just weird.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So everybody that got touched by the moonlight, their skin, they turn into a werewolf the year before, right? So that's why people that are out are all covered up, so they don't get to have the change or whatever.
But like, sort of halfway through the so I thought that, you know, some of them were going to be werewolves and then some of them, you know, were not affected by it. Like it was some mutation in a certain amount of the population.
No, it's
which is
go
sort
outside,
of,
you're a werewolf.
okay, yeah. See, that's sort of the impression that they gave off at the beginning. But then like halfway through the movie, it was like, oh, if you go outside at all, you're a werewolf.
Yeah, well, the Frank
And
Grillo
so-
and the chick could go because they had the eye drops they put in. Remember?
Right.
Yeah, there's magic eye drops.
The moon screen,
Moon screen.
right? Like sunscreen, but moon screen.
And you
And
yeah.
but like it seems like if you're backed into a corner and there's a werewolf like trying to attack your house, you would just, you know, go outside and then also be a werewolf. Problem solved.
Well, this is how I would solve this problem. Kids, wife, let's all go outside. We're gonna be a pack, right? Nobody's gonna come fucking eat us. We're gonna fuck them up. And then in the morning, wherever you are, just make your way back home. All right, have fun, have fun. Have a nice night.
Exactly.
Like, no werewolves are coming in here and eating me. We're gonna join them.
So, like the logic of this movie didn't make any sense.
Yeah, like we're all just werewolves now. Like that's way easier than whatever the fuck all you guys are doing.
Yeah. Like, all right,
And then, like,
if you want to,
is it only people?
if you wanna-
like,
hunker down or whatever, that makes sense. But then if you get in trouble, just be a werewolf.
so it sets up that Frank Grillo, his brother died the year before, and so he's helping take care of his brother's wife and his brother's wife and their kid, his sister-in-law and his niece.
Mm.
But there's a lot of like, we're gonna fuck eyes between sister-in-law and Frank Grillo, like a lot. And also the sister-in-law, the worst character, worst dialogue, worst acting, unbelievable. Do you see the way that woman was carrying a shotgun? Who the fuck does that? She was like a marching band. What the fuck are you doing?
And what are you talking to the werewolves for?
They can't hear you.
They weren't even good
Oh my
one-liners.
God. When he comes back and she's like, there's no shotgun shells left. And he's like, did you use all of them? What'd you do? She's like, it's been a busy night. I'm like, yeah, shooting the fucking walls because they weren't inside when you started shooting the damn gun off, you dummy.
And
Like, you ran out of ammo.
You shot through the sheetrock and the ceiling, and now the sky out there. You got a shitty house.
It's for real. Like, there's no attic. It's just straight moon.
Seems like
moonlight.
the attic would be a good place to hide. But I guess she doesn't have one.
There's a scene where she's like crying hysterically. One scene before, like, oh my God, I don't know what, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then like the next scene, she's like loading the shotgun. She's like, I am brave, I am strong. No one's gonna fuck with my house. I'm just like, she's like, I'll fucking kill you. And the little girl's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I threw up. My soul threw up. It left my body and threw up all over everything.
That one got a pretty big eye roll when the little
like,
girl was like,
oh.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh
I
man.
was like, oh, that was kind of gross.
And for some reason in this universe, werewolves are really into vandalism. They just like banging up cars and shit. They get in a big group and just start banging on cars. Like, what are we doing? I don't know what the point is.
Street Fighter.
Any of this. And then they come across this group, right? They're like military guys. They have like a minigun on the back of a Jeep and shit. And they're fucking laying fire. And like,
but like, why?
I remember, and then so the Frank Grillo and this girl scientist, they go hide under a car to get away from the werewolves and the people shooting and shit. And then she's like, I have an idea. Let me test my theory. And she runs out, right? She runs out. After all the military guys get eaten by the werewolves, she runs out and the werewolves all surround her and she's like, raw in one of his faces.
But it was just like that.
And then the werewolf like roared back, and then Frank Grillo, that's what he did, the bite me from the trailer, and started lighting off. And the crazy thing was like, she's brave as fuck, right? Because not only did she roar in that monster's face, but then she hit the deck. And when it showed her laying there like this, bullets were flying all around her. There was like the barrel that was right, like ding, 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 ding. Like Frank Grillo's
Because he was
wild.
shooting a Gatling gun.
It's
at
a
her.
fucking minigun. There's no. And all the werewolves leave except for one that just stands there like a fucking suction cup for all the bullets. Just... Oh, and I wish they would have established some rules, right? Like the silver, but you need silver. Like,
Right.
what
I
is
was
it?
wondering that the whole time. Do regular bullets even kill these things?
It seems like they do. It seems like you could poke it with a fucking iron rod and it kills them because Frank
Yeah.
Grillo does that. Gets covered in blood. Next scene, clean.
Yeah.
Like the editing's wild. Like him and the scientists are in this like so how they started it was like they had like these 3 werewolf guys in a cage and they were administering this drug to them to see if it would stop them from transforming, right? But then it didn't. So shit goes crazy in that building. And so like him and this Frank Grillo and the scientists, they are trying to get out of the building, and like there's a werewolf there, and they're like they shoot this air thing and it blows mist all over the werewolf, and they're like, all right, we got to get out of here. Next scene, they're fucking flying ass down the freeway. I'm just like, how do you go? And I don't mean like something else happened and then that. No. Like they said that and then fucking headlights. like that. Like it was crazy. Like, what
There was
happened?
also an awful lot of scenes with like like werewolves are actively chasing them, and then they stop and turn and look at each other and then have a whole fucking conversation.
Well, that's when the lady scientist gets killed. After they
Yeah.
do all that shit with the Gatling gun, he's like, let's go. She runs, hauls ass back to the Jeep. She gets in there, opens the door, stands there. And then she like steps back, smiles, and gets yanked up. And I'm like, what did you just get in the fucking car? Like, you were right there.
This
Ugh.
is definitely, there's a stupid people alert on this episode for fucking sure. I didn't hate the werewolf in the body armor though. Like when it first happened, I was like, wait, why is the body armor still there? Wouldn't that have ripped off too? I mean, they just put a fucking thing around their neck that was like
They're
this
way
big
bigger
so that it would
than
fit.
normal people.
Yeah.
Way bigger. Which is why the werewolf with the earrings threw me off. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, also true. How big were these earrings when you were a person? Jesus
Like the
Christ.
hoops were huge.
Like pulling your head down.
It was like I growing up in Southern California, I knew several chicks that had them big ass hoop earrings, but that was the '90s, bro. It was different back then.
But yeah, so I like it didn't make any sense, but it did kind of look cool when it was the werewolf that you could pick out. Oh, that guy's got a stripe on his face and he's got the body armor on. That's kind of a cool looking werewolf. I'll take that.
Didn't mind.
Yeah.
What I hated was that so Frank Grillo, they kill all these werewolves. Frank Grillo gets back to the fucking house, right? Oh, you know what was also cool was when Lou Diamond Phillips started transforming in his suit, in his little Iron Man suit. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
So Frank Grillo gets back to the house.
The heads-up display they had in there, that was kind of neat.
Yeah, the Iron Man look. They all had they could look around and it would look like they were in the helmets. So he gets back to the house and it's just him and the neighbor, right? The neighbor's the last fucking werewolf, of course. He's got the vest, says wolf killer, the paint. And the werewolf is just standing outside the house like, bah, come out here, bah. So Frank Grillo does. He walks out there and he has his moment. He's like, there's rain, and there's this slow motion. They're badasses staring at each other. This man's werewolf. And Frank Grillo starts talking shit to this werewolf, dressing him down. Come on, bro. Would you shut up? This werewolf has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to bury you. And then he triumphantly looks at the moon. So stupid. And he looks at the moon and then he starts transforming.
Until he looked at it.
Well, and the transformation was very short, but it didn't look that bad. But my whole thing was why did that other werewolf just stand there like a fucking yutz while this motherfucker got the power to beat him? He just stood there and waited for him to transform. This is the worst werewolf ever. And then he continues to stand there while Frank Grillo rips his head off. At no point, when Frank Grillo is grab. The other werewolf's just standing there. Pull.
Well, yeah. At that point, though, I was kind of ready for him to kill him and get this over with.
Then Frank Grillo goes in. He's gonna kill the sister-in-law. Oh no, but she holds up a picture of your brother. Don't forget your brother, and it slows him down long enough for her to use one last shotgun shell that she found in the rubble to shoot another hole in the wall and let sunlight through, which magically transforms Frank Grillo off screen back into a human with the pants all tight and shit, but he does this slow motion. The sun's coming in. He's covered in fucking sweat. His muscles are glistening. Slow motion, like lean back and flex his six pack. I'm like, what the fuck? It looks like a goddamn romance novel cover. And then he turns around like he like forearm grabs his sister-in-law. Credits.
Yeah. The ending was pretty fucking awful. That was the Lifetime movie version of a werewolf movie, I think.
It was bad. The world that they established didn't make sense in how they were showing it. Like in my head, here's how it opens up. It opens up with just the family having dinner, right? They're just sitting down to have dinner. Dad's out barbecuing. Fucking wolf's out. Boom. Breaks into the house. Fucking wrecks everybody. Title, Werewolves. Next title, 1 year later. Boom. Now you can go on.
There you go.
That's how you grab a motherfucker right off the top. As it was, the neighbor across the street, that little girl had 2 werewolves in her house. Smash cut away from her. 20 minutes go by, and then she's banging at the front door with a blanket over her head. How the fuck did she get out of that mess?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, because another werewolf snatches her out of the street. So.
What about the little girl werewolf in the bodega?
That was kind of cool. Except I wish it would have looked more, it looked like a Who. It looked like a Who from the fucking Grinch movies.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I was like, okay, why does she look different? And like is not attacking or any, I guess a puppy. But he's like talking to her.
Well, like because they can't stop talking to these fucking werewolves. I know. Like they're gonna talk back. This whole movie, they won't shut up to them.
They obviously don't understand because they turn into werewolves and kill their loved ones. And then what happened to I guess the chick's dead, so I guess her werewolf husband doesn't matter anymore.
Who?
The scientist chick.
She got snatched up by the
that's what I'm saying. I guess she's dead, so her husband that turned into a werewolf at the beginning doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, he's gonna come back he's gonna snap back to reality with the son and be like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. The population has decreased again. I feel like this movie desperately needs a prequel that is way better.
Yes. That would make sense.
This movie had everything going for it. The story idea, the concept that's awesome. And it leads
what I'm saying. I like the concept.
I would imagine in the year between the werewolves thing, like the changes that would have happened in society to force those people that were werewolves into prisons, into underground bunkers, into something, and segregate them from the rest of the very fragile population. The fact that nobody took what seems like any precautions at all. I mean, the sun is going down and motherfuckers are running around on the streets with suitcases and laundry baskets. What the fuck? You do your laundry tomorrow.
Right.
Remember that crazy ass thing that happened last year? That's happening again. Look at the news. It's happening all over the world.
Like maybe
you're doing your fucking whites. Like, chill out. It
and
doesn't
why are they
seem
so fixated on this one fucking house? Like they actually had some, like an electric fence.
I thought there'd be a point. Like maybe they would have a reason that all these werewolves would be conjugating and trying to get into this one house, but. No, like as far as it seemed like that the neighbor and this lady didn't really like, maybe they didn't get along, but I didn't think they had some sort of vendetta. So
yeah,
I don't know why they focused on this one fucking house that had all these problems. like there's so many bad things to get through to try to get into this house. Like, why don't go to that house where there's nothing? Like, if they're dumb animals
and smash cars like Street Fighter, like the rest of the fucking werewolves for some reason.
It had a big idea and told a very small, convoluted, nonsensical story in it.
Yeah.
And the dialogue is just awful. There's so many fucking speeches of like Frank Grillo's last words to his niece, or what I thought were his last words, right? Because he comes back. But he's like, no matter what happens, when you gotta promise me something. When you grow up, you're gonna be brave. You're gonna be strong. Promise me that. Why? What the fuck are you talking about?
Verbatim.
What the fuck? There's another scene where like the mom lady runs into the room and the girl's like playing a video game on her tablet, but there's nothing. It's just like these video game sounds, and she's going like, ooh, you know, and the mom's like, the mom's like, I need to get on some of that game, and then it flashes to the girl, and it shows her screen, and there's nothing on it. And she's like, I always beat you at this game. And then the mom's like, who wins at tickling? And then she tickles her, and then it goes to another scene. And I'm like, what the fuck was all that?
And why was it even in the movie?
What was all that? I don't need any of it.
It was I think it was I don't know if it was after they escaped the bodega or when they were just first like trying to escape the lab or whatever at the beginning, but like they're running away and then they just like stop and talk to each other, and it was a speech. It was this weird, stupid, convoluted speech from the lady scientist talking. I guess she was talking about the dog stuff. She's like, remember, if there's only a couple of them, we can run away. But if there's a lot of them, we have to like out alpha the alpha. Or
you're not
some
gonna do
bullshit.
that. Frank Grillo's got muscles, but it ain't like that.
Yeah.
That's why she tried to do her roar thing.
Yeah.
What about when they were running, remember, and they got into the mall thing, and then that kid with the gas mask threw the grate down, and then you got introduced to this huge society that lives in this mall of neon lights and fucking black paint, and the guy had a gas mask. Remember the purple and gold gas mask?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll take you to the tunnels. That's it? You never – what the fuck was going on over there? There was people in cages banging on them? What was all that?
Were they werewolves in the cages?
I don't know.
People?
I wish I would have known. I wish you could have told me.
I know. Like, what's with the chains? That did get interesting.
And like,
there
so do
for a
some
second.
people just live in this weird community in the mall in town, and then there's like a whole military that's like getting people to go on buses underground? Like, I don't understand the world that you're setting up. It doesn't make logical sense to me. Logistics.
Right.
I'm having big problem with logistics here.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, and, maybe take the scene out of the lady playing the imaginary video games with her daughter and give us some sort of explanation for that place.
Maybe cut out all of the lady and her daughter and just give us the scientists are trying to stop this fucking thing, and then shit goes out of hand and they're trying to escape.
Yeah.
Maybe you just get rid of all of that other shit because none of it fucking matters anyways. When she's like, ready, always ready. And then it like cuts to like this bullshit fucking Monster energy drink poster hanging on their wall that says always ready. It's like, what? Like, that's your motto, eh? You're going off of that terrible fucking flaming skull poster in the background. Great. Great.
Well,
This movie sucks.
this movie did suck. It was a lot. It was a lot
It's
of
getting
bad.
further down. The werewolf had bigger teeth than late phases, so I'll give him that.
True. But late phases wasn't so much about the werewolves, I think. I mean, it was, but it was more of a character story,
Brian, I need you to see this. If only just
it's
to be
bad.
like, wow, I can't believe
I have
this.
to after who's better at tickling. I gotta see this dialogue.
That was.
So, there's
and
so
like-
many times they tell this little girl, no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, like, fuck, she's heard this like 12 times tonight. You keep shoving her in cabinets and shit. Get behind here, go under there, get under there. And then the next second, she's running out from that thing and holding your hand.
And then they make sure to zoom the camera in on her while she
Oh yeah, the tracking.
Like 4
There's a
fucking
camera
times.
shot where the camera's going down the hallway, like, and then it goes right up to her, and then right when it gets up to her, she's like looking at the camera. She goes, ah! It's the
Yeah,
worst.
there's a
It's
whole
the
build up and
worst.
everything.
It's bad. So I'm glad I went to the theater and saw this.
Yeah.
I'm glad I made it out.
Well, had to have something to complete the list. All right. As always, we want to thank you for listening to another episode of The Horror Returns. We'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. You can always reach us at thehorrorreturns@gmail.com or find us at www.thehorrorreturns.com. Follow all the social media stuff from there and hear the latest episode of the show. And I'll get this sucker up on YouTube pretty quick, which is, I don't think that works in the timeline, but you get the idea. Next week, we're joined by Steve. Hey, oh, you're coming back? All right.
Yeah, it's a, it's a.
And Pedro to talk about yet 2 more Children of the Corn films. Awesome.
I'm excited about that. I always like when Pedro's on. I've never been able to talk to Pedro. I always like when he's on your show, so that's cool.
Oh, yeah. Pedro will have a lot to say about it, I'm sure. He's fine. And Pedro will share his top and bottom films of the year. Damn it, I got to make a list. So
how many? How many?
We usually do top 10 and bottom 10. I don't know what Pedro does.
You gonna put together the list?
I mean, if Pedro's going to and Philip's going to, then I might, just to toss some 2 cents in there.
Well, we're going to have a whole separate show about it, so I'm going to have to get some sort of list together for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you don't want to try to jam those 2 shows together. Now, I'm not overstepping my bounds. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do.
Hey, but if you have a top 10 and bottom 10 list, go ahead.
Bottom 10. Werewolves is in it.
Yeah.
Werewolves is fucking in it.
It was pretty bad. Damn it, Frank Grillo.
Yeah, motherfucker. So good in Creature Commandos, and then come over here yucking it up.
I know. But until the horror returns again, Brian.
Good night.